Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Right now, your lungs are filled with roughly 1 septillion molecules of air. That's a number so large it's almost impossible to imagine. And yet, you can't see a single one. Your brain tells you that you're surrounded by empty space. But that's not true. Because at this very moment, you're living at the bottom of an invisible ocean. Air is everywhere. It fills your lungs, presses against your skin, and surrounds every object you can see. Without it, you'd survive only a few minutes. So why can't you see it? And here's an even stranger question. What if fish have the exact same problem with water? At first glance, this makes no sense. You can see glass. You can see ice. You can see smoke and clouds. Air is made of matter too. So why does it seem completely invisible? The answer begins with light. Everything you see is really light bouncing off objects and into your eyes. When light hits a tree, a building, or your phone screen, it reflects back toward you. That's what creates an image. But air molecules are different. They're incredibly tiny and surprisingly spread out. Most light particles travel straight through them without ever colliding. Imagine throwing a handful of marbles across an enormous football stadium. The chances of hitting a single grain of sand are tiny. That's essentially what light experiences when moving through air. So most of the time, light passes through untouched. And if light isn't being reflected, your eyes have nothing to see. But here's the twist. There is one place where air becomes visible. Inside specialized physics laboratories, scientists use devices called cloud chambers. These chambers allow us to witness something extraordinary. When energetic particles move through the air, they disturb the molecules around them. For a brief moment, glowing trails appear. Suddenly, the invisible becomes visible. It's almost like watching ghosts move through empty space. And in a way, you've already seen something similar. Every time you look up at a blue sky, the sky appears blue because tiny molecules in the atmosphere scatter sunlight. The color above your head is actually evidence that air exists. You've been looking at air your entire life. You just didn't realize it. Which leads to an even bigger mystery. If air can be seen, why don't we notice it? The answer has less to do with your eyes and more to do with your brain. Every second, your senses bombard your brain with enormous amounts of information. Far more than you could consciously process. To survive, your brain filters. It ignores anything that stays constant. This process is called neural adaptation. Think about your nose. Right now, it's sitting in your field of view. But you probably weren't aware of it until I mentioned it. Your brain quietly removed it from your attention. The same thing happens with your clothes. You felt them when you first put them on. Now you barely notice them. Air works exactly the same way. It's always there. So your brain decides it's not important enough to focus on. And fish experience something very similar. To a fish, water isn't some remarkable substance. It's simply the environment. It's normal. It's background. If a fish could ask questions, it might wonder why humans are so fascinated by water in the first place. There's another reason we don't see air. Our ancestors didn't need to. For millions of years, survival depended on spotting food, predators, and safe paths through the environment. Solid objects have edges. They cast shadows. They create contrast. Air does none of those things. So evolution optimized our vision for detecting boundaries. If something has no clear edge, your brain often treats it as background. Other animals took different paths. Some snakes can detect heat. They effectively perceive temperature patterns moving through the air. Certain insects can sense subtle vibrations and pressure changes that humans never notice. Every species experiences a different version of reality. We don't see the world exactly as it is. We see the version that helped our ancestors survive. Now here's where things get strange. Even though you can't see air, your body constantly knows it's there. Air has weight. A typical room can contain hundreds of kilograms of it. Imagine a grand piano suspended invisibly around you. That's roughly how much air may be filling the space. You can't see that weight. But you can feel its effects. Your ears respond to changes in air pressure. Your balance system depends on it. Your lungs rely on it every second. In fact, your entire body is continuously interacting with the atmosphere. You are never separate from it. You're immersed in it. Just like a fish is immersed in water. This raises a fascinating question. If our brains filter out something as important as air, what else are they hiding? There are invisible dangers all around us. Carbon monoxide. Radon gas. Excess carbon dioxide. We can't see any of them. We often don't notice them until their effects become serious. Reality contains far more information than our senses reveal. Our brains show us only the parts they believe matter most. Everything else remains hidden behind the curtain. Some animals experience that hidden world differently. Take the jumping spider. Despite its tiny size, it possesses remarkably sophisticated vision. Its eyes can detect incredibly subtle changes in the environment. Scientists believe these spiders can perceive visual distortions caused by moving air. To them, the world may contain clues and patterns that humans completely miss. Imagine being able to watch air currents swirl through a room the same way you watch waves move across a lake. It sounds like science fiction. Yet for other creatures, it may simply be reality. Which makes you wonder. How much of the universe exists right in front of us? Completely unnoticed? Let's change perspective. When a scuba diver is underwater, air suddenly becomes visible. Bubbles rise toward the surface. Silver spheres dance through the water. For a moment, air has shape. Then the diver returns to land. The bubbles disappear. And air becomes invisible once again. The reason is simple. We don't see air for the same reason fish don't see water. We're inside it. Earth is wrapped in a thin blanket of atmosphere. Compared to the size of the planet, it's surprisingly fragile. Yet every human who has ever lived has existed within this ocean of gas. We're not standing above it. We're living at the bottom of it. And here's the beautiful part. You actually do see air. Just not directly. Look above a candle flame. Notice those shimmering waves. That's air. Watch a hot road on a summer afternoon. See the mirage-like ripples. That's air too. Look at a rainbow after a storm. Feel the wind bending tree branches. Watch clouds drift across the sky. These are all fingerprints left behind by the invisible atmosphere surrounding us. The truth is, air becomes visible whenever it changes. Whenever it moves. Whenever it bends light. Whenever it leaves a trace. The philosopher Marshall McLuhan once said, "We don't know who discovered water, but it wasn't a fish." Maybe that's true. Because we are the fish. Air is our water. And perhaps the most important things in life are often invisible. Gravity. Time. Trust. Love. You never see them directly. You see only the effects they leave behind. So the next time you feel a breeze on your face, or watch a leaf drifting through the wind, remember this. You are not surrounded by nothing. You are floating inside an ocean. An ocean so familiar that your brain stopped noticing it long ago. Air may be invisible. But every breath you take is proof that it's there. And sometimes, the things we can't see are the things that matter most.